From the mud to the rise, yeah, we built it on the grind. Trench talk, real talk, leave the fake ones behind. We don't fold, we don't break, every move we define. It's the code from the trenches where the real ones align.
Yo, welcome to the savage streets of Baltimore, where the name Murdaland Mafia Piru, MMP, strikes fear from the corners of Windsor Mill to the heart of the city. This ain't no movie. This is the real-life saga of a gang that brought terror, death, and retaliation wars to the streets, leaving a bloody trail that even the feds couldn't ignore. Back in 2008, after the fall of the treetop Piru, a new power emerged. Dante Bailey, aka Gutta, Almighty, or Wolf, stepped up and founded the Murdaland Mafia Piru. He wasn't just any shot caller. He was the Don, the Godfather, running a tight mafia-style hierarchy. His soldiers, the infamous 5200 boys holding down the 5200 block of Windsor Mill Road, MMP's HQ. MMP wasn't just about slinging dope. They were the taxmen. If you wanted to hustle on their turf, you paid up or got dealt with. Lightning bolt tattoos for the hitters, death for the snitches. No mercy. MMP's reputation was forged in bloodshed and ruthless enforcement. These weren't just street-level threats. MMP made their rules known with bullets, and they didn't hesitate to use them. Here's a deeper look at some of the most notorious cases that cemented their legacy. The nightclub hit. Devin Dent, a hardcore MMP soldier, wasn't just slinging crack for the gang, he was present for some of their most violent acts. One night outside a downtown Baltimore nightclub, Dent stood by as another MMP member tried to execute a target. The victim was shot multiple times in the head and torso, a cold-blooded hit designed to send a message to anyone thinking of disrespecting the mob. Dent later pleaded guilty to racketeering and drug conspiracies and was sentenced to 14 years in federal prison. This wasn't just about one shooting, it was about showing the city what happened if you crossed MMP. The Collins Avenue murder, Dante Bailey, the founder and Don of MMP, didn't just give orders, he got his hands dirty. On February 12, 2015, Bailey personally murdered James Edwards on Collins Avenue, shooting him to death for showing disloyalty to the gang. What makes this even more savage, Bailey used the same gun he'd fired at rivals on MMP's home turf just 3 nights earlier. This was about more than eliminating a threat. It was about making a statement showing that even the highest ranks weren't above pulling the trigger to enforce the mob's code. Federal murder case, the Frazier conviction. Sidney Frazier, a known MMP associate, was convicted on federal charges for conspiracy to distribute heroin and fentanyl and for a murder tied directly to the gang's drug turf. On August 10, 2016, Frazier and his crew kidnapped, robbed, and murdered Ricardo Johnson to protect and enrich their drug trafficking operation. This case showed how MMP's violence wasn't random. It was calculated, designed to protect their profits and silence anyone who threatened their business. But the violence didn't stop at killing rivals. Retaliation was MMP's calling card. If you crossed them, you were marked for death. If you snitched, you were as good as gone. Even a wrong look could get you targeted. Witness intimidation, assaults, and murder for hire were all in the playbook. MMP enforced a strict no cooperation rule. Snitches faced execution. Members earned status, even lightning bolt tattoos, by carrying out hits for the mob. Social media was weaponized. MMP members posted photos, rap videos, and threats, flaunting firearms and daring anyone to challenge their rule. The violence and criminal activity of the Murdaland Mafia Piru, MMP gang, escalated to such a dangerous level that federal authorities had no choice but to intervene decisively. After years of intensive investigation involving wiretaps, undercover operations, and surveillance, the feds launched a major crackdown in 2016 that culminated in a sweeping indictment of 24 alleged MMP members. This indictment was not just about petty crimes. It exposed MMP as a full-blown criminal enterprise responsible for a wide range of violent and illegal activities, including racketeering, operating as an organized crime syndicate with a hierarchical structure. MMP coordinated drug trafficking, extortion, and violent enforcement, murder and attempted murder. The gang orchestrated and carried out multiple homicides and shootings to maintain control over their territory and silence rivals or informants. Assault and extortion. They used intimidation and violence to extract money and enforce their rules on the streets. Obstruction of justice and witness intimidation. MMP systematically threatened and attacked witnesses to prevent cooperation with law enforcement. Money laundering. They funneled drug profits through local businesses and casinos to hide their illegal gains. The federal indictment detailed how MMP operated very much like the Italian mafia, adopting a mafia-style code and structure. They collected taxes or dues from drug dealers operating in their turf, enforced loyalty with brutal violence, and maintained strict discipline within their ranks. Their influence extended beyond the streets into jails and prisons, where they continued to control drug trafficking and criminal operations. The crackdown was a coordinated effort by multiple agencies, including the ATF, FBI, Baltimore Police Department, and federal prosecutors. Early one morning, agents executed simultaneous raids across northwest Baltimore and Baltimore County, targeting homes and stash locations tied to MMP. They seized firearms, narcotics, and other evidence to dismantle the gang's infrastructure. Maryland U.S. Attorney Rod J. Rosenstein emphasized the significance of the operation. We know that most of the violence in Baltimore City is fueled by violent drug organizations such as the one that we are indicting today. On average, 6 people are murdered every week in Baltimore City. 12 more victims are shot and wounded every week, and by working together, we can bring those numbers down. The arrests and indictments sent a clear message to Baltimore's criminal underworld: enough is enough. The feds were determined to break MMP's grip on the city's drug trade and violent crime. High-ranking members, including founder Dante Bailey and key lieutenants like Jamal Lockley and Corloyd Anderson, faced life sentences for their roles in the gang's deadly enterprise. This federal intervention marked a turning point in Baltimore's battle against gang violence, showing that even the most violent and entrenched organizations could be targeted and dismantled through persistent law enforcement efforts. Dante Bailey, the undisputed kingpin and mastermind behind the Murdaland Mafia Piru, ultimately faced the full weight of justice. After a high-profile federal trial, Bailey was sentenced to mandatory life in prison without the possibility of parole. His conviction was a landmark moment, signaling the downfall of one of Baltimore's most violent and feared gang leaders. But Bailey wasn't the only one to face consequences. His top lieutenants, Jamal Lockley, Corloyd Anderson, and Shaquem Davis, were also convicted on a slew of serious charges, including racketeering, drug trafficking, and illegal firearm possession. These men had been instrumental in running the gang's operations, from orchestrating drug deals to ordering hits on rivals and enforcing the gang's brutal code of silence. Their convictions helped to dismantle the gang's leadership structure, dealing a significant blow to MMP's control over Baltimore's streets. With the kingpin and his inner circle behind bars, the streets of Baltimore grew somewhat quieter. The brutal turf wars and retaliatory shootings that had plagued neighborhoods began to ebb, offering a glimmer of hope for communities long terrorized by gang violence. But the scars left by MMP's reign still run deep: families shattered by loss, neighborhoods haunted by fear, and a city struggling to heal from years of bloodshed. The story of the Murdaland Mafia Piru is a savage reminder of the harsh realities of gang life. Power is earned in blood, loyalty is paid for in lives, and violence is the currency that rules the streets. The wars they waged, the bodies they left behind, and the atmosphere of terror they created have left an indelible mark on Baltimore's history. From the rise of Dante Bailey as a ruthless kingpin to the eventual fall of his criminal empire, the saga of MMP is a gripping tale of ambition, brutality, and the relentless pursuit of power. It's a story that exposes the dark underbelly of urban life and the devastating consequences of gang violence. If you're hungry for more savage stories from the underworld, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment below, and let me know which gangs or crime figures you want me to expose next. Stay sharp out there, stay safe, and remember, real life is wilder than fiction.